Yes, yes, yes. The Democrats have been in some kind of civil war for a little while because Justice Democrats used an exploit to get far left people into office that most people don't actually like. And Nancy Pelosi actually made a point about this the other day. So this is the story we're going to move over. Nancy Pelosi takes another shot at AOC and says a glass of water with a D next to it could have won the 29-year-old seat before warning her not to menace voters. So yes, I agree. You could take a rock and stamp it with a D, throw it in Ocasio's district, and it's going to win for two reasons. There's not really a Republican running, and that was the strategy of Justice Democrats and brand new Congress, etc. However, excuse me, this story, it's fake news. This is fake news, okay, and it's got to be called out. She is absolutely not taking a shot at Ocasio-Cortez because we'll come to this, and we'll read through this and go through the story for sure. She's talking about her own district, too. She says mine, and she even praises Cortez. The truth is, yes, Nancy Pelosi has been going after Cortez, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And the reason I bring this up is, listen, man, there's so much gaffe nonsense to point at Cortez and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. It's like every criticism of them is racist or sexist, and it's like, enough. Ocasio-Cortez has more than enough gaffes. You don't need to try and claim that some innocuous statement. It's actually a really important statement, but it's not like Nancy Pelosi was trying at that point to take a shot at Cortez. This story is her taking a shot at Cortez. Pelosi rips AOC, says her posse in Congress is like 5 people. And I think the reason she said in the next story that she praised Cortez is because it's getting bad, right? Pelosi called the Green New Deal the Green Dream. Pelosi has repeatedly denigrated the progressive far left whatevers. And I think she's trying to pull back a little bit because one of the big problems Democrats have is that as they've become so split and pulled apart, you're going to have a decent amount of people who are swayed by the far left. And you need to make sure those people will stay on your side and you don't divide the party. So I think Pelosi's trying to walk back a little bit. Let's see exactly what the New York Post is talking about here, though, with this story from 2 days ago. In a 60 Minutes interview, correspondent Leslie Stahl pointed out the different groups within the House Democratic Caucus. You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side. That's like 5 people. It is. It's seriously like 5 people, and the media acts like it's the whole Democratic Party. The media is acting like Pelosi is fringe. Pelosi is much. She's a speaker, right? Listen, the mainstream Democrats still hold the median. They're not centrists. You know, you look at the graphs, I've shown a million. They're not centrists. In fact, in my next video I'm doing later today, I have a graph that actually breaks down the voters by Clinton and Trump, showing you that the Democrats are moving far left and the Trump supporters are centrist and have varying opinions. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. But we'll come to that later. The point is, it's seriously like 5 people. But the media keeps putting Ocasio-Cortez on the cover of magazines. You've had Tom Perez of the DNC say she's the future of the Democratic Party. And then in response to this, conservatives come after, and it creates a cycle where, yeah, she's getting a ton of attention, free press, kind of like Trump did. But in reality, it's like 5 people. Seriously. Stahl corrected the snarky remark saying the progressive group is more than 5. Well, I'm progressive. I'm a progressive, yeah. The Congressional Progressive Caucus has 98 members and is the second largest group of Democrats in Congress. Ocasio-Cortez is one of the group's most recognizable freshman members. 7 Democratic House members, including Ocasio-Cortez, are supported by the Progressive Political Action Committee, Justice Democrats. So, which is what Pelosi could be referring to. Yes, it's like 5 people. It's 7. Please, let's carry on. Look, you can look at a chart, and there was a graph put out, I think it was by 538. It was an agenda chart. And it wasn't about motivation. It was about who votes in what direction in support of what agenda, right? So Donald Trump said, don't approve this bill, the federal spending bill, because it doesn't have what I need for the wall. Ocasio-Cortez said, don't approve the federal spending bill because it funds ICE. The way they broke it down was, did you support the bill or oppose it? Well, Trump opposed it, and so did Ocasio-Cortez. And in the first instance, she was the only one. In the second vote, she was joined by the other progressive, far leftists. What they pointed out was that in terms of a yes or no decision, Ocasio-Cortez has supported Trump's position, not talking about motivation. the position he's taken on bills, more than half of Democrats, meaning she's actually, because she's far left and disagree with the entirety of the party, it put her in alignment with Trump's position on the bill inadvertently. So yes, you want to talk about what this what does she call it? You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side. Yeah, it's seriously 7 people, according to New York Post. So when AOC votes, and because she's so far left, she's looped back around and inadvertently supported Trump, not his agenda, just his support for the bill or opposition to it, then yeah, you're not in line with the Democrats anymore. You've looped back the other direction, and now you're inadvertently doing what Trump wants. It's ridiculous. The Democrats will never say we're gonna stop funding ICE. It's just said these 7 people, and then it was a handful more in the second vote. Mainstream Democrats, they're gonna fund ICE. Okay, they're not gonna give Trump what he wants because they don't want to have a victory, but they're gonna give money to ICE. Ocasio-Cortez won't, putting her at odds with Democrats and putting her in a position where she's essentially doing what Trump wants. The reason is, if the bill gets shut down and the only way it moves forward is if they give Trump what he wants, and she's doing what Trump wants, well, then they've lost a coalition. And that means, regardless of what happens, Trump has way more power, and they're going to have to give Trump what he wants at the end of the day because AOC doesn't have the power to stop Trump's veto or anything like that. So it's complicated. But this was absolutely her saying, like, I don't think this is even necessarily Pelosi being really mean or anything. She's just pointing out, like, don't act like these people are mainstream. They're not. Well, let's check out this story. I don't know where this narrative comes from, but I did see Ryan Saavedra on Twitter talking about it, and I think that's fair. Well, I think Ryan typically has, he highlights a lot of these good contradictions. He actually has this long thread about Democrats calling for violence or insinuating or inciting violence, and I think it's great. Okay, it's like it's great that he's highlighting these things and pointing these things out. However, there have been a few times where I've had to push back on what he's putting out. So the same is true for BuzzFeed. This is not me singling anybody out. A lot of people know that in the past I've been like, I think BuzzFeed is okay because they respond and they're willing to, take critique and all that stuff. And then this morning I said, look at BuzzFeed lying and they're trolling. These things happen. Just because I think, people do something good one day doesn't mean they're going to get a pass when they do something bad. Without accusing Ryan of getting this wrong, in this clip, which this story from the Daily Mail is about, she starts by saying in districts like, I'll start over. Here's what he says. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi takes another shot at socialist rep AOC, says a glass of water with a D next to it would win in Ocasio's district. Sure, but she says, in the beginning of this clip, which I'll say this too, I respect Ryan for not stripping the clip of its context, though the framing of the tweet makes it sound, is incorrect. But by showing the actual clip, I was able to watch it, and Pelosi says, in districts like mine, and like Ocasio-Cortez, who many people believe she's a fine member of Congress, these are heavy blue districts where if you put a D next to this glass of water, the Democrat's going to win in those districts. She says, in districts like mine, in those districts. She refers to AOC and herself. It's not a shot. In fact, she even praises AOC in the clip. But now here's what we get. So look, man, I've said this before, that no one is invincible, no one is immune, the left and the right have their issues. I will stand by me saying, as somebody who reads the news all day to a ridiculous degree, the right, or whatever you want to call it, tends not to do this, tends not to. BuzzFeed does it so often that I'm getting like, oh, come on, like, what are you doing? Like, and it's gotten to the point where they're getting worse. They really are. And it's coming after the layoffs, okay? Because I've mentioned how I thought they did a good job in the past. Well, the layoffs happened earlier this year, and now things seem to be taking a turn for the worse. This is basically what my main video for today is going to be on my main channel. That basically what I feel like we're seeing is conservative media and media on the right has so many more opportunities for calling out the nonsense of the left that they tend to hit accurate points. Like I mentioned, Ryan Saavedra typically does really great threads and highlights the absurdity and hypocrisy on the left. These are some instances where that's not the case, where they've gotten the context wrong. But it's definitely lopsided. I go to Vox. Vox has a story I'm going to talk about later. It's framed insane. It's insane. Essentially, what happened the other day is Bernie Sanders did a town hall on Fox, and Bret Baier did a fantastic job of being calm and moderate. Because Bret Baier is an anchor. He's not one of these, he's not crazy. He's a news anchor. You've even got Shep Smith on Fox News. And they want to act, it's really weird how the way that the left frames it is they're like, Fox News' bubble was burst for the other night. Thank God Bernie pushed back. And it's like, dude. Fox News invited Bernie on. They invited him on and they gave him a fair shot. It's mind-blowing that we're in this world now where the left is just... Here's what I'll say. For the longest time, mainstream media was very left. Something is changing. And you know, this is what I'm going to go through. I got a huge list of stuff I'm going to go through for my main channel video. Long story short, Daily Mail doesn't need to write this story, okay? Anybody who watched that clip would know that's not the case. Nancy Pelosi was taking a shot at herself. You could argue she's taking a shot at AOC, but she put herself in that same category, so I don't think that's an apt way to frame it. And in fact, when I tweeted it out, that's what I said. She refers to her own district too. Districts like mine, or she's definitely not taking a shot at AOC. She even praises her. Joey Salad said, sounds like she is dissing AOC's win, at the same time dissing herself, making out to be an easy task and win by default. She singled out AOC as the only thing. That's a fair point. Nancy Pelosi did not need to bring up AOC in this segment, and it is like highlighting her. So you could argue, I think that would be to a certain degree fair, but I would disagree with it. If someone said to me, Nancy Pelosi is saying my district too because she wants to take a shot at AOC while making it seem like she isn't, I would say, okay, I don't think so, but I can understand why you would come to that conclusion. Nuance Bro responded, Ryan needs partisan content. Yes, he does, but I actually, I follow Ryan, and I think most stuff he puts out, it's on average, overwhelmingly, like, on point. Like, here's Democrats inciting violence. And I looked through it, and he's got, 20 tweets or whatever, and one or two of them was like, sure, but not really. But for the most part, he's right about that. And so, even if you don't like what he's saying, even if it is partisan, sure. Ryan has every right to highlight only the Democrats doing things. That's fine. Doesn't mean he's wrong. In this instance, he's wrong. But that's okay, because I think he tends to have it, he tends to have it correct. This person responded, Donald Martell. I agree with you, Tim, but Pelosi said nothing of the huge feat she accomplished in the primary. The general election for any NYC district is a given. It's the primary that's the battleground, and Pelosi doesn't even mention it. That's true, too. Small clip, but it doesn't sound like a shot at AOC. Truth is, a Dem could never lose either district, and it's not putting someone down to state that for a fact. They still have to be the Dem nominee to win, though. Right. And someone points out Joe Crowley had a D next to his name. That's a really good point as well, but he got thrashed in the primary because he didn't take it seriously enough. Long story short, let's wrap this up in final thought. Nancy Pelosi absolutely takes shots at Ocasio-Cortez. That's like 5 people. It's a green dream, whatever, So I can understand why someone might think she's going after her in this regard, like Joey said. You could potentially argue that she does want to keep putting pressure on AOC, but this is a way to... Oh, no, I wasn't. I was talking about myself, too. And, sure. AOC is now the most followed... I believe she's the most followed Democrat in Congress. Could be wrong. But anyway, we don't need this. Okay, we don't need this. But I'll leave it there. I got another video coming up at 4 p.m. on my main channel, which is going to break down the strange phenomenon where it seems like conservative media is becoming mainstream and it's having a profound impact on our society. And I think it's a complicated issue. But I'm going to go through it. So go to youtube.com/Timcast. That's a different channel, and I will see you there.